Greetings, Spitz Planetarium users. This is Dan Zielinski from Spitz Planetarium, and today we're going to go over how to insert custom panoramas into your planetarium with Starry Night 7. It's much easier than it used to be. Let's get started. First off, we need to find a file to create a panorama with. So go to Google, just simply go to Google Images, put in 360 panoramas, and you get a lot of fun choices to play with. We're going to use this beautiful kind of island dock image here. You'll see it right here. We're going to make it as large as possible. Take a look at it. But you do want to make it as large as possible before you save it so you get it at its biggest form. So we're going to right click on this image, go to Save Image As, and go ahead and just name it whatever you'd like. We're just going to name it Island for now. Nice and easy, and put it on the desktop. From there, we're going to insert this image into whatever photo editing program you like to use. I'm using Photoshop Elements, so we're simply just going to insert it right into there. Now, this is not going to be a lesson on how to use Photoshop, I'm just going to briefly show you what to do in whatever program you use. But here is the most important part, is to make your canvas size 4096 by 512. That will be the most important part because that is what that is sort of the default dimensions of the panoramas in Starry Night. Now, in order to edit this, we want to make sure our sides obviously touch the sides of our canvas. The fact that the top doesn't touch is irrelevant because we're going to get rid of the sky right now. Now, as I said, I'm not going to be teaching how to work with Photoshop, but I am going to just go ahead and show you what to do. And you can see I've used the magic selector and just selected the blue sky, so it takes most of it, and it does a okay job. So I have to go in there and edit. I'm holding down Alt so that way it deselects some of the stuff that it should not have selected until I just get it to your liking. Now you can be as detailed as you want for this lesson. I'm just going relatively quickly. I'm just going to hit that one last section there. I'm going to hit delete, and that'll get rid of the sky there. Then I move to the next section and do the same. Slowly removing the sky in each section. I do recommend working in sections. And again, if you want to even get inside those tree leaves and get really detailed, that's completely up to you. I won't be doing that in this one, just to show you really quickly how you can get these to the dome. When you're using a panorama that has both sky and sea, it's going to be very difficult for Photoshop to actually pick up the two colors. So what I recommend is you actually use the sea level or the horizon level and just use a rectangle and get real close to that sea level and just delete it as one big chunk, as you see here. I'm going to do this to both sides of this dock pavilion thing. Just to make sure I get right up against that water level so it looks nice and sharp right there. And then of course come back and get the sky above the pavilion here. Once complete, you should have a beautiful panorama going from edge to edge without the top sky now. So now you're going to save as and save it as a PNG. It will save at 4096 512 PNG. And this time you want to label it with whatever you want it labeled for the actual dome. So I'm going to actually do it Island Dock Pano. That'll just be the name of the file we use for the planetarium. Now I'm just going to take a look at it, make sure it will work. It looks very good. The next step is to put this file in the proper folder. Here you can see, highlighted with the red rectangle, I have highlighted the folder you need to find. Renderbox, Horizon Panoramas 7. Simply insert the Island Dock Panorama PNG, or whatever your file is named, into this folder. Once you have your image file into this folder, take any of the text files nearby and copy it. You can see here that I've taken the Mars text file and I have copied it. I will now rename this file to match the name of our image file. Once renamed, open the file. We now have to adjust some of the parameters inside this text file in order for the planetarium to look for the correct file, starting with panorama name and image file name. For panorama name, whatever you put inside the quotes is what will display on your Starry Night menu. For image file name, the exact name of the file we just created must be put between the quotes. At this point, all you need is to reset Starry Night on both your preflight and render box. Once restarted, look at your list of panoramas and your new one should appear. For the remainder of the video, I'm going to go down some of these other parameters you may need to adjust in the file to get the panorama to look exactly the way you wish. Let's start with image height. Image height tells the dome how tall to make our panorama. For example, here is our image at 40 height. Here is our image at 140 height. So you could see that the image has been stretched vertically. This is useful if you happen to stretch your image out in your editing and need to reverse it back, or if you just want a really cool stretch effect. Next is image axis declination and image axis right ascension. These you can use if you want your panorama to tilt. For example, right now our image axis declination is at 90 degrees. If I change this to 75 degrees, you can see that the image has now been tilted about 15 degrees. Now if you're wondering to what direction it favors the tilt, that is told by your right ascension. Right now the right ascension is 0, causing the tilt to favor the north. But if I change right ascension to 270, it's now actually favoring the east. Image center declination tells the planetarium how high to put your panorama. Here you can see my image center declination is set to 10. If I change it to 50, it has now placed my panorama 40 degrees higher on the dome. So this number can be changed up or down to put your horizon at your perfect height. Lastly, we have image center right ascension. This tells the planetarium what part of the panorama to place directly south. Right now we have a value of 0. That tells the planetarium to put the seam to the south. If your seam didn't come together very well, you probably don't want that. Or if you just want to bring a different feature of the panorama to the front. Changing 0 to 45 rotated the panorama 45 degrees, putting now the seam to the southeast. Putting 90 rotated another 15 degrees. The seam is now directly east. Hopefully with this little extra knowledge of what each of these lines mean, you can now put in your own panoramas and place them and make them look exactly the way you wish. Do remember that you need to restart Starry Night on both rendered box and pre-flight each time you make a change. If you have any questions on anything we've gone over, feel free to email me or place in the comments below. This has been Dan Zielinski from Jenks Planetarium, and I'll see you next time.